Okay, everyone knows about Cyberpunk 2077, yeah? Let's give this game a fair review, no pun intended this time. First and foremost, we cannot talk about Cyberpunk 2077 without the console issues. There were a few of them, and they were pretty severe. In fact, the port to the consoles seems to be remarkably poorly done. Of course, consoles themselves are kind of a dying market, since video games will always be run on some kind of computer as well nowadays, and a PC will more and more be a household object, whereas a console, specifically for games, is very much not. So in the interest of maintaining larger market, consoles really can't survive in the long term, if you think about it. It's still not forgivable, though, because they said it would be done, and it wasn't, so it kind of feels rushed a bit. But we're here to talk about the game, so let's talk about the game. The character creator gives you a lot of customization, like all the customization, but it's not quite as broad as I would think it would be. Like, The Sims has better control over face and such, and you can't choose some of the cyber mods that you see out on the street. Like, what if I really wanted one of those weird visor-like headpieces, or I wanted to be a Cyclops, like that weird guy from the trailer? It's a little weird that there's so many, just skin-based cyber mods that you don't have the ability to put on you, even though they're not, necessarily altering you in any way. But I can live without them. That's just some bits and text here and there. You don't need everything. And the customization allows you to do a whole bunch of other stuff. You can have all kinds of different face paints, different types of irises. You can have anime hard eyes if you want. And if it's your so wish, you can be jiggly in all the places. But the surprisingly limited selection of hairstyles and such honestly made me wonder, is this game rushed by any chance? Because there's very few long hair female hairstyles. But the limitations on character creator aren't huge because you don't really see your character all that much unless you're looking in third person in your vehicle. So let's talk about the writing, which is, well, actually pretty solid. I'll give it a pass on that. That's really good. But I didn't finish the main story for a while because I suffer from what is known as Bethesda gamer syndrome, which is also better known as faffing about for 6 hours on end. Plus, I didn't fast travel all that often because, I like to drive. And then I'd get in an altercation with the police, and they'd end up in a 30-car pileup, lots of explosions, possibly 200 dead citizens. And I have no idea why. It doesn't even make any sense. I followed all their laws, I think. My driving was impeccable. My parking was exquisite. I don't understand what their issue was. I feel like I was being unfairly targeted by the police in this game. Something wrong, my buddy? It's okay, man. Make it all go away.
Don't fucking kill me!
Hey! Don't fucking swear! Oh. I don't know, maybe that's some kind of glitch or something. But the story was great even after I finished it. It had a lot to do with finality, which is a good thing. They wanted a real final end, and I don't want to offer spoilers, but all of the ends, while some people live, some people die, there's different changes, they are all very final. They are all very end. Of course, the open world kind of ruins that in a little bit because they say you have so long to live in the early parts of the story, and I proceeded to faff about for about, 6.5 years worth of in-game time, and I didn't really feel especially rushed. So in their desire to have an open world, that means they couldn't actually enforce any kind of time limit like they said there was in the main storyline, but they wanted it to feel like you had to be pushed forward even though you weren't. And then they have to teleport you back in time to before the point of no return in the story if you want to continue playing the other parts of the game. So the whole very final bit of it kind of feels far off. I'm not feeling a lot of urgency on it. But I do appreciate that they went with finality as kind of a theme. Especially since they really couldn't go for the whole dehumanization of modifying yourself with cybernetics, since apparently you can replace your arms with cybernetic gorilla arms, and then remove them, putting your normal arms back somehow. Like, did I have them in my back pocket or something? But hey, I'm glad that a Cyberpunk system finally didn't get into the whole, oh, does modifying yourself make you less human thing. That's been done to death, so more of a finality as the theme would definitely be a welcome change from the norm. On top of that, side quests are numerous. There's so many of them, and some of them are really, really good. There's this whole one about a serial killer hooking people up to cow hormone injectors. That was really fucked up. There's this nice one about your neighbor that doesn't really have to do with much, but you just gotta, check in on him because his friend died. You check in on him every few hours or so. And unlike the main storyline, apparently this one has an actual fucking time limit where you have to check in on him in a few hours, or else he kills himself. Good to know the rule of time not really mattering so long as you're not doing a quest is only applying to the primary storyline. And while the unique ones really shine, there's honestly a fuck ton of those side quests that are really just the same thing. Go here, kill a dude. Go here, collect a thing. Grindy grind RPG. But I suppose it does make the individual special ones really stand out, really shine. But the trips during those quests aren't even boring, because, there's a lot to distract. There's random crimes throughout the place, and, most of them are pretty similar. I feel like they could have varied those a little, but who knows. But they are just random encounters, so I don't expect too much, and the sheer variety with ways to approach it is amazing. But the lack of variety in the side quests, when you have all of these piecemeal random encounter things, kind of makes me wonder if, the game was rushed a bit? But just in case combat isn't your distraction, there's also, other things to entertain. It's weird that joy toys are a thing you can use, but they only made 2 of them. There were more in Red Dead Redemption 2, so we know that they're okay with putting lots of hookers in their game. Add on to that the fact that brain dances, which are kind of like porn DVDs for your mind, are not usable, but they're not in your junk folder, so you can't break them down for resources, but you can buy them, and there's literally nothing for them. They're not there for anything. I understand that your character can buy adult toys and they go right to the junk folder because, they're not going to program a way to use those. They didn't need to. That wasn't the point of the game. But why include brain dances if, you can't use them? Why make such a point in the primary storyline of giving you the brain dance wreath so you can edit them on your own, and then make brain dances a separate thing that you can acquire that is not junk, and then say you can't use it? It's just an incredibly sexual world. Like, there's ads for really inappropriate shit on every single street corner. Sex runs this place. Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't run on sex, but it had plenty of hookers. It's just a weirdly sexual world for only 2 hookers and no brain dances. It kind of feels like, the game was a bit rushed. There are broken animations and physics issues. I only had 1 crash that actually took down the game, but there's constant issues where I can't select things or open doors. I once had to reload a save because I couldn't interact with a person who I needed to do a quest. Or spot number 6 in your skills. It's completely cut out, and when you hover over it, the fuzz isn't even cleanly placed over the object. Like, it's just a square over it. Like they just pasted that code in at the last minute. During some of the animations that don't glitch out, where objects will just float in air while they pretend to look at them. And people get a bad case of stone hand syndrome, like they're from the early days of the RWBY, or Ruby, series. I'll be honest, it feels like a corporate problem. This feels like a lot of push. Either some people didn't do their jobs correctly, or they announced this way too early. The game feels rushed. There's this constant sense of something missing in the game. This constant feeling like there's something not there. And the longer you play, the more you start to notice these things. The cracks become wider, the obvious gaps and missing pieces become more evident. The stitching starts to be visible. Now, I know this sounds like a really bad thing, but the game is really fun. Like, the sheer variety that you can approach a situation with is amazing. You can run into a battlefield, you can shoot one guy while quick hacking another, grab some blinded dude in the back and use him as a human meat shield to get behind cover, throw a flashbang, then run out with a katana and slice someone to pieces after double jumping over the barrier they're hiding behind. Yeah, you can get legs that come with a double jump. The game is a lot of fun. By the way, pro tips, get the Find a Hacker mod. I'll put its name somewhere in there, but essentially it shows you a netrunner who's trying to hack you. It's really useful. Also, get the Emperor 620 Ragnar. It's a big-ass SUV, and there's nothing more fun than driving down the street in a big-ass SUV and just deciding to take the sidewalk for a little bit. You know, put the windshield wipers on and meet the people. And be sure to keep the Overwatch. You get it from Pan Am's quests. Do Pan Am's quests. The Overwatch is a big-ass sniper rifle that is viscerally fun to fire.
Goodbye.
Get fucked. But I don't know, other than the incredibly touchy police who don't seem to understand that I borrowed this car, I'm sure he wanted me to have it and I will definitely give it back, the game was pretty entertaining. And there'll likely be free DLC, and they say they're going to fix all of the issues. They want to get all of it back. I'd honestly give it a 75 out of 100, or 7.5 out of 10 if you want to simplify. But I think on a whole, just based on the fun that I had and the very few glitches I experienced, you know, occasional unloaded texture, but that might be due to my computer. Sorry about any of my recorded footage being, like, really shitty. My computer is not new. It was a fairly good graphics card, you know, like 5 years ago when I bought it, but it's kinda showing age. It still runs the game just fine, it just doesn't want to record while I'm doing it. So I'll blame it for the frame rate drops as I'm racing through the city, and, you know, that one unloaded texture I had. But none of that really stopped me from having fun in the game. The seams are definitely there, and that hovering feeling of something just not being there will always drag down a little bit. So I definitely give it an 8 out of 10, 80% on this. A lot of fun, and definitely worth the money since all of the DLC and the fixes are going to be free, but I could understand you waiting for a better price. 8 out of 10 would buy again. Also, something games need to stop doing. Let me kill kids. I want to kill children. Feel free to quote that in whatever context you want. If you've put children in the game, I should have the ability to kill them. You let me kill literally any other innocent bystander all I want, but I can't kill the children. Worse yet, you're telling me I cannot kill the children after you make them wear booty shorts and or wraparound sunglasses. At which point, you're practically begging me to kill them just to improve the human race. So let me know in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, share, subscribe, please, it really helps. And be entertainingly angry.